Everybody, welcome back to another Godzilla Battle Line video, and today, you Battle Pass owners are finally unlocking Godzilla 2000. This video, we're going to be talking about my thoughts on him as a unit. If you want to see my thoughts on him as a leader, well, that was yesterday's video, so you can go watch that. Short and end of it is, I'm not a huge fan of him, but he's alright if you like him, but I wouldn't use him. I don't think he's a meta leader. Very similarly, I don't think he is going to end up being a meta unit either. Currently, some of the top units in the game are GMK, 4th Angel, Kumo Augment, and Destroya, and they all bring some kind of extra flavor to the battle. You know, 4th Angel has got a lot of damage and a huge explosion. Destroya's got, he's easy to evolve now, he's got massive damage, and he's got, you know, on death he spawns the Destroyer larva, which can be very good. GMK has crazy amounts of, his AoE is ridiculous, and on spawn and on death, he puts a debuff on the enemy team. And Kumo Augment, insane range, insane stun. How does Godzilla 2000 compare? Right? I know there's a lot of people that don't care how meta he is. They're going to use him as their leader or on their team anyway, because he's a very requested character. He's a lot of people's favorites. A lot of people got nostalgia for him from the PipeWorks games and stuff like that. But I'm here to level with you on a competitive level. All right, I'm here to talk competitiveness of him. And I don't think he is going to be incredibly viable. He's a 5 cost. He has pretty decent enough damage. His health, is a little on the lower side. So we like that. Not that his health is on the lower side, but we like his damage, and we like that he's a 5 cost. His health being low is not ideal. He has a gimmick. He's a beam user, but his gimmick is that when he kills a unit, or I think he participates in the final blow, he doesn't necessarily need to get the final blow, but I think he just needs to help facilitate the final blow. He will detonate the enemy character and apply burn in a big area of effect. That is in of itself a good gimmick. I like that he is detonating the enemies on death instead of him detonating on death, or like your 4th Angel detonates on death, he's detonating the enemies. We haven't seen that before, so this is new, and I like it. My problem with it is that it's a little too weak, and he is also not the strongest, so he is not closing the kills as much as you would like him to get these things popping off. You ideally, with an ability like this, you want it to proc as much as possible to get the burns out. His burn doesn't change the damage numbers per level, so it's always going to do 50 damage. It's always going to last 8 seconds. That's 400 damage, okay? You want that 400 damage over 8 seconds every time an enemy on the opponent's team goes down. It is very difficult to get this to proc with him because he doesn't have the best damage. He's okay damage, but it's not the best, and you want it to be hitting constantly. You see right here, the Gigan stopped him from hitting the Destroyer or the Final Wars with the beam. That would have procced the explosion. If he hit the Final Wars, it would have also killed the Destroyer just because of the explosion, and then that Gigan would have been hit. But he didn't. He wasn't able to clutch it out. Now, that just could be for me. You know, mine's level 13. I have 2 pieces for him, and he's rentable right now when this video is made, so he's level 13 in the arena. Maybe when he's in the higher upper levels, we're going to get a better use out of that beam attack. But I can't, I'm having difficulty seeing it. I mean, his attack speed is 2.4, which is really good. But because he's not closing up the kills, you're not getting that effect to pop off nearly as much as you would like. You know, 4th Angel is closing out the kills when he dies on the explosion. GMK is closing out kills with the AoE. Even Viability is going to close out a ton of kills, right? So you want Godzilla 2000 to be finishing off your opponents, but just if you don't even get like the attack pattern to happen right, you might not get that ability to proc. So you can see him like right here, he hits the Destroyer, but because he didn't technically get that last hit, it didn't count. And he would be really good against the swarms to basically annihilate them, but you could see on my screen as well, the GMK pretty much just annihilates the swarms himself. So if you're not timing his ability right, you don't get to make use of the explosion. And he's nothing without that explosion, right? He is not nearly as good as some of the other Godzillas in this game. I think Ultima is still better because it's just pure damage and the range. And I think units like GMK are better for all the reasons that we've talked about in this video, that GMK is just good, right? I even like Final Wars Godzilla better for 2 energy more. He has just exceptional damage and knockback, and I like him a lot. So, on his own, I don't really think Final Wars stands up with the rest of the Godzillas. I mean, I don't think he's the worst unit in the world. Like, I don't think he's completely unusable. I just think, you know, he's a 5 cost, so you have to compare him to the 5 cost. He's a Godzilla, so we gotta look at the other Godzillas to see, you know, how he stacks up against them. And I honestly am not a gigantic fan of him. I really do like his ability to put the burns down. I wish his attack speed was a little quicker so he had more chances to activate it, or maybe if his damage was higher so we could get more chances to activate it, because as it stands, it's not always proccing. And sometimes you don't even get to see if the, like on screen right now, you don't even get to see if the burn damage is technically applied, because it'll give you the little icon. So the icon is bugged. So if you're not really paying attention, you might not even notice. But it does seem like even if the icon is bugged, that the damage is still applying, which is nice. Do I think he works well in a team? I think so. I mean, if you can... He's a little fast, so it's hard to keep him paired, you know, in a big push, because he'll just kind of bust ahead, and he doesn't have a ton of health, and you don't want him tanking all the shots. But if you can get him kind of into the middle of a team fight and help him take down some units, I mean, if there's swarms in the team fight, he's going to be proccing this thing, like, immediately, right? If there's some lower health units, Kumo augment, whatever, he can get this to detonate. This is good against Kumo, because he's got a 2.4 second attack speed, this one, and then he'll detonate the Kumo, which is nice. But when he's on his own, and sometimes he will end up on his own because he's going to rush ahead of your push, you can see right here, he's pretty fast. He, look at his search range, too. He's in this building. He can kind of mess up his own flow, which isn't great. You can see right here, though, he kills this Manila and procs on the enemy leader, which I do like, that you can proc this on the enemy leaders and does the same amount of damage. That's good damage, right? So he has a lot of really good things going for him. I'm just not super sold on his overall viability in the current meta. I think he's a fine unit. I think if he's your favorite Godzilla and you invest in him, you'll end up getting some decent returns. But if you are at all interested in like playing this game at a more competitive level, I just don't think that he's the Godzilla for you. I mean, for 5 cost, you could do Fire Rodan, Mothra Leo, Batra, 4th Angel, Burning Godzilla. This is a pretty okay replacement for Burning Godzilla, but he's not replacing Batra. He's not replacing Leo or Fire Rodan or the 4th Angel. He doesn't do nearly the same amount of work as them, right? And no matter what level your Godzilla 2000 is, he's always only going to be doing the 400 burn damage. It never increases. The burn damage is never going to go 500 damage per burn. It's never going to hit 700. It's never going to hit 401. It is always going to remain 400. It always will be 50 damage over 8 seconds. Now, you know, in the future, after this video goes live, maybe a month from now, 2 months from now, who knows? Maybe they change it next week. I don't know. But you could have a level 40 Godzilla 2000, and his on-death explosion that he grants onto the enemies is always going to do 400 damage. Not super great in my book. If that's scaled, this could be busted. But it's not going to. Desghidorah's doesn't. Shin Godzilla's burn doesn't as well. This burn definitely isn't. So, those are my thoughts on him. If I had to place him on a tier list today, he'd probably be somewhere in the mid to lower B. I really am not super into him at the moment. I think this season totally belongs to Destroya and Jet Jaguar if you want to give him a spin. But I think a lot of players, and especially a lot of competitive players, would agree that Godzilla 2000 is probably going to end up on their bench starting next month. But anyway, guys, that's what I got for you today regarding Godzilla 2000. So I appreciate if you let me know how you like the video, if you like the gameplay, because I'm trying, not to just do walls of gameplay, trying to show you multiple battles, different scenarios, all kinds of stuff. Hopefully you like that. Let me know what else you would like to see for this week, for this update. I'm thinking about giving, the new Destroyer, the new Shin Godzilla, the new Jet Jaguar, all their own videos to talk about them. And I got to figure out some good deck videos as well for some of the newly boosted units in this new meta we are in for the month of August of 2023. So that is what I got for you guys today. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will catch you all on the next one. Bye-bye.